Scholastic, the weekly web show for the avid comic book reader and those who aspire to become so. Now, right before Labor Day at Fan Expo Canada, DC Comics and Jeff Johns made a lot of fans of obscure comic book characters very happy when he announced that a new Justice League team would debut in 2013 and released promo art featuring a lot of people who don't work very well on teams. So today I'm going to pretend that Johns' main Justice League title is actually well written and not immediately write this book off, instead talking about who's on this new team and why or why not I'm excited to see them. Plus, as always, my weekly recommendations of what comics to pick up or download this week. Let's get started. Who am I the most excited to see here? Surprisingly, that would be Steve Trevor. Like Robert Pattinson, he's using his nasty breakup with Wonder Woman to take his career to the next level. And, dare I say it, he appears to be morphing into DC's answer to another Steve, Steve Rogers. Maybe he'll have a rebound hookup with another member of this new team, perhaps Catwoman, who's standing next to him practically topless. Really, DC, I don't know what's more ridiculous, that Catwoman thinks exposed boobs and no hair is a good look, or that she fights crime without wearing any kind of bra. Thankfully, she's now zipped up on the previously controversial Catwoman Zero cover, and because I love her as a character, I'm still pleased to see her on this team. Next, I'm psyched to see more of this new Green Lantern, Simon Baz, who was just introduced in Green Lantern Zero. His tattoo might be taboo for Muslims, but have they seen it light up? Light-up tattoos were pretty much the only cool thing in the Total Recall remake, so it's nice to see them featured somewhere they'll actually be seen. I'm also excited to see Martian Manhunter, despite the loincloth over pants look. John, even Superman doesn't do that anymore. Still, while I've never really enjoyed Martian Manhunter in the comics, I've always liked his animated versions, so I hope to see more of that here. Alright, so let's move on to who I'm not excited to see. Katana? I mean, sure, she's one of the lead characters in the upcoming Beware the Batman animated series, so I get why they want to give her more exposure here, but in all honesty, she's a huge one-note bore over in Birds of Prey. Oh, and Age of Apocalypse Sunfire called, he wants his mask back. Also, speaking of television, that's clearly why Green Arrow is here as well, but I'm not a big fan of how Oliver Queen was de-aged for the New 52, nor how he's been turned into Bruce Wayne Light. As for Hawkman, well, I'd much rather see Hawkgirl here, and DC, why have you not used the New 52 as the perfect opportunity to mold her after Shira Hall in Justice League Unlimited? She was a huge fan favorite who wisely ditched these crazy Hawk masks that make readers unable to connect with the characters emotionally. Plus, who would wear that? There's a reason hardly anybody ever cosplays as Hawkman or Hawkgirl. Finally, there are two characters I'm neutral on. The first is Vibe. Now, I'm always a big fan of diversity, and I hope this Hispanic superhero is better received than the overly complicated Blue Beetle. But starting out hiding behind Catwoman's leg is not a good sign. Then there's Stargirl. I'm not about to diss a character that Johns famously modeled after his sister, who tragically died in the crash of TWA Flight 800. I can only hope that as Johns tweaks her here, she grows in popularity and becomes an even more worthy tribute. Now, just like picking up the first issues of DC Comics' New 52 was a no-brainer, so is picking up the 52 Zero issues out this month, which are basically new origin stories. And like the number ones, some of these zeros are hits and some are, well, zeros. I'd say the standout Zero issues from last week were Green Lantern, World's Finest, and Action Comics, which weirdly had some nice Clark-Lois musings, leading me to believe Superman might eventually dump Wonder Woman for his human dream girl down the line. Lois Lane fans would certainly be thrilled. Also, while we're on the subject of last week's comics, I've got to recommend Before Watchmen Silk Spectra number 3. Darwin Cook and Amanda Conner continue to prove that they're one of the best in the biz when it comes to depicting female characters. And it's great to see Laurie get some wonderful treatment here, considering how she was turned into just another superhero vamp in the Watchmen film. But please note, Silk Spectra is for mature readers. As for this week of DC Zero titles, I'd recommend Batgirl and Suicide Squad, as both feature characters who are dramatically changed in the New 52. Also, you might want to pick up Batman and Robin to see exactly what changes have been made to the Dark Knight's mythos, because it seems like not very much. Then over at Marvel, this is a big week for Avengers vs. X-Men, as we're being promised a death in issue number 11. Sure, it's a Phoenix death. You'll notice the solicitation promises fatality and not finality, but it is a supersized issue. Plus, now that we've been teased that someone gets lobotomized in the AVX aftermath, maybe even Cyclops, now we kind of have to keep reading, right? Also, attention all Emma Frost fans, after you read Avengers vs. X-Men number 11, apparently Uncanny X-Men number 18 is not to be missed. But with that sexy cover, I'd have bought it anyway. Say what you will about the White Queen, but she certainly turned Scott Summers into one of Mutant-Kind's biggest sex symbols. I was going to say he'd eclipsed Gambit, but if anyone's reading Gambit's solo series, you know that's simply not true. Also, speaking of relationships, if you're a fan of Loki and Leia, you might want to start reading Everything Burns over in the Mighty Thor and Journey into Mystery. Trust me, it's a 9-parter and we're only just through 3, so it's not too late to get started. Finally, if you're looking for something to pick up outside the big two, it's slim pickings this week, but I do suggest the Doctor Who Annual. Not only does it feature work from many top-notch Doctor Who talents, but you'll get a prelude to the new ongoing from Andy Diggle and Mark Buckingham. That's right, the Fables guy. Is this why Gene Ha is taking over in that title starting in October? I guess that means Fables is about to look a lot less indie and a lot more mainstream. And that's this week's Sacktastic. I'm Grace Randall for Think About the Ink, and hope to see you back on Friday for Between the Pages. Until then, happy reading.